assume you already know the theme of the video, but I had to get this shirt for a reason. Let's get started. So, I've been watching Hunter x Hunter for a while now, and I thought this specific scene was really interesting, right? So, let me set the scene for you. Bam, they returned from the NGL, they lost Kite, pride is broken, right? They're at all-time low morale. They want to go back to save him, but they must prove their strength, right? They must defeat two of the assassins sent by Moral, which is Knuckle and Shoot. Ultimately, they don't beat them, right? And Gon sobs. He sobs and he says, I didn't know being this weak was frustrating. I think that's very interesting. I also think it's interesting to compare how Gon feels in this instance to how Yuji felt in chapter 214, 214 in JJK, right? By the way, spoilers. I put that in the beginning, but spoilers, right? So, what happens in chapter 214? When Sukuna possesses Megami's body as a vessel, Yuji, enraged as he may be, cannot stop it. Like, it happens. He used the enchant. Bam, he wakes up. It's already over. Yuji questions why. Why can't he live a normal life? Why does he have to spread misery? Him being Sukuna. He retorts, why are you so weak? You're weak, yet you cling to life. Continuing on your path means destruction, yet you should spend your life stifling your weakness. Oh, wait, no. Wrong quote. Stifling in your misery. Yuji comes to the realization that these people will and always be curses. Both these characters have a habit of humanizing their opponents, right? When you're someone's opponent, it doesn't make you an enemy, but these people just cannot be redeemed or are just so ingrained in their ways, right? Ginthru, I feel like Ginthru, he wasn't really redeemed. He was. I don't even fucking know. I don't even know why they let that nigga go. To be honest, I don't even know why. But Mahito trying to understand him, but he is a curse. He fully embellishes his curse. Him being a curse. Sukuna, he tries to understand him, but Sukuna is just a force of nature at this point. Just he craves destruction and chaos around him. He wants to see the world on fire. And while these protagonists want to, I feel like Yuji at a faster rate. Well, that's a really bad way of saying it. He understood quickly, or more quicker. Jesus Christ, dude, I'm fucking up my words. But he understood faster than Gon that there are just some people that cannot be sympathized with or empathize with. You can't put yourself in these people's shoes. Obviously, there are going to be some opponents that you can understand and fully humanize, but Gon continues to do this, and he does it to a fault. He's overly trusting. It's really in his character, in his nature. I believe Gon and Yuji, right? They interact with strength in two different ways. First, Yuji, right? He's the most I'm familiar with, and who I glaze. Yuji's strength comes from, well, at this point in time, right? At this point in time, his strength comes from his mentality of self abandonment, right? He abandons his self for a simple goal or purpose. The goal can be or purpose can be far greater than he is. He'll just abandon his self worth and self preservation to meet that goal, to end to an end, right? Basically, we see this in his cog speech and how he sees himself as a cog and just an endless machine that keeps going and going, and he is a cog that will help that machine go, right? But we also see that when he confronts Mahito one last time, right? The whole Mahito speech, not Mahito speech, the whole, when he defeats Mahito, he gives that one last speech of, I'm you, you know. And I believe at the end of JJK, right? It's not more so that he abandons himself, but he learns to, instead of abandoning his self-preservation for the system, right? He can just change the system himself, like what Gojo was trying to do at the beginning. Instead of killing the higher ups, he is trying to change the actual society of it. You know, of birthing the strongest, right? Taking in the new generation and making them as strong as he is and stuff like that. I'm rambling, right? But I believe his interaction with strength is much different from Gon's, right? Gon's interaction with strength is something of, I want to say, fuck. What's the something of something unutilized, right? Gon is strong, don't get me wrong, but he's strong in a way that a child, because he's a child, right? His childlike wonder. He obviously has a simple technique, right? His childlike naivety, and he's very over trusting to a fault, right? And I believe Gon, this might sound unhinged to say, but I believe when this whole event takes place, right? Before the actual Pito thing, and I believe he didn't have enough like hate, right? He didn't have enough hatred. He didn't have enough, survival mentality, because as he was training with Bisky and as he was doing all this other thing, right? Even on Greed Island, right? He was very unhinged in his plan. He blew off his fucking arms, right? Against fucking what's that guy's name? I can't think of that guy, but the bomber, right? He he's not about that lifestyle, right? So they interact with strength very differently. Yuji sees it as a ends to a means to an end, right? While Gon uses it as a tool, but a tool he cannot properly utilize until he becomes like that, and I mean like a killer, right? Like a killer. So these ideologies of are strength can manifest in many different ways: mental fortitude, physicality, spiritually, philosophically, if that's a word. uh, they manifest in different ways for these characters, right? And I think they all possess an ideology and really everything. This video is getting a little too long, right? I'm just rambling at this point, but I believe the price of being weak at certain points is something you cannot afford to do. Yuji has lost, well, at this point in the story, Yuji has lost Nobara, Megami, Gojo, because he was sealed. He has lost everyone because he felt like he was not enough. He felt like he was weak, right? And these circumstances were just out of his just out of his hands, high key. And Gon, his weakness, he wasn't there for Kite. He felt like he slow Kite down, which he knew he was doing, right? But that childlike naivety, feeling like, I got this shit for real. When in reality, they're just kids in a big world, right? They're talented. Don't get me wrong, they're talented, but they're just children. I'm not gonna say playing pretend because they actually got that shit though. But they don't see things much bigger than them, and the price of being weak in that instance, death, destruction, not being there, to you have to hand off your responsibilities to others you felt like it's not really their fight. Gon gave his responsibilities of saving Kite to Gon. No, fuck. What am I talking about? He gave his responsibilities of saving Kite to Shoot and Knuckle, right? Shoot and Knuckle, they find Kite, but he is not the same. And even before that, Gon sobs because he just cannot be there, even for the people he calls his friends or his loved ones. think I'm done though. Thank you guys for watching. I actually like this kind of video I did. This kind of cool. But thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, like it, share it, subscribe. And I will probably do another late night a late night rambling session again. Thank you for watching. Later.